Hello and welcome to Philosophy Vibe, the channel where we discuss and debate different philosophical ideas. Today we're going to be looking into the works of one of the most fascinating philosophers of the 19th century, and that is Nietzsche. Interesting. Nietzsche is seen as one of the pioneers of nihilism, as well as a major contributor to the existentialist movement in philosophy during the 20th century. In this video we're going to look at how Nietzsche reached a nihilist position and his concept of the Ubermensch. Great. First, we need to understand a little history. Since the great Roman Empire, Europe was predominantly a Christian continent. Nearly all people followed the Judeo-Christian teachings of the creation of the universe, the creation of the human race, and of course, morality. Right. However, during the 19th century, there was a huge cultural shift sweeping across Europe. The development of the natural sciences and the works of Darwin cast doubt across the whole Judeo-Christian religion. People were in fact losing their faith and losing their religion. Nietzsche, picking up on this cultural shift, declared that God is dead. He explained, "God is dead. God remains dead, and we have killed him. How shall we comfort ourselves? The murderers of all murderers." Wow, very dark. Yes, but this perfectly summed up the state Europe was in during the Enlightenment. Imagine that for centuries people strongly believed in one God that created them. They believed they were created for a reason, that the earth was the center of the universe and they had been placed on this planet by an omnipotent being. This gave all people a sense of purpose. No matter how rich or poor, how strong or weak, or how beautiful or ugly, we had all been created by the same God for a specific purpose, and we are all governed by the same moral law, and we are all judged the same way. And no matter what, we are all equal in front of God, and we are all either rewarded or punished in the afterlife. Yes. But as science developed and we understood more about human evolution, suddenly the stories in the Bible did not seem true. Religion was declining, and soon God was dead. But with the death of God, it left a huge void in the lives of millions. Suddenly, we were not important. We were not the center of the universe. We no longer had a purpose. Morality meant absolutely nothing. There was no God to judge right and wrong and judge our lives. There was no afterlife for reward or punishment. No purpose, no reason, no creator, and no morality. Life was empty. Life was meaningless. This was the birth of nihilism. Wow. Now this is a lot to take on. Morality is now pointless. Values are meaningless. Everything we have valued means nothing. Truth, honesty, loyalty, all these things no longer mean anything. They are no longer virtues. So where does Nietzsche go from here? Well, Nietzsche agreed that with the death of God, this void would inevitably lead to nihilism. However, he believed there was a way to fill this void and bring some sort of purpose or meaning back to life. Nihilism was not the end result, but humanity had something to strive for. What was that? In his book Thus Spoke Zarathustra, Nietzsche raised the concept of the Ubermensch. Okay, what does that mean? The literal translation of the Ubermensch is the Superman, or some might refer to it as the Overman. Now that God is dead and we realize we're all alone in the universe, we need something to take the role of God. So Nietzsche thought this was up to mankind. We must strive for our own evolution, the next phase of man, the more superior, better man, the Superman. I see. Consider our evolution. Our ancestors were chimps. Now how far more evolved have we become? And yet, why should we assume our evolution will stop? We need to carry on getting better, and we must aim to either create or become Ubermensches. For Nietzsche, this was the goal for humanity. Okay, but what exactly defines an Ubermensch? Nietzsche wasn't exact on this, but there were some core ideas he had to the concept of the Ubermensch. Firstly, the Ubermensch is psychologically strong, ready to master this life and this world. The Ubermensch is not concerned with otherworldliness. The only concern is for this world and this life and everything in it. Nietzsche saw religious systems such as Christianity solely concerned with otherworldliness, the idea of heaven and the eternal reward. This otherworldly fulfillment would pull people away from this world. It would make them distant from our earth and concerned solely with a world that they did not live in. The Ubermensch will be solely focused on this world. The Ubermensch will grasp this reality and appreciate it.
I see.
But most importantly, the Ubermensch will rise above all morality and values that were once ubiquitous and establish his own values. The Ubermensch will create his own morality. It will be based on this life that he has led, the experiences that he has had. The Ubermensch will not be controlled by a herd mentality, following the morality of the masses because they have been told what is right and wrong. The Ubermensch creates morality for themselves. They define what should be valued. They live by their own moral code. The Ubermensch brings their own meaning to a meaningless world. The Ubermensch dominates their reality.
Interesting.
So this is the goal for mankind. We do not need God to bring meaning to our lives. We find meaning by striving to become the Superman.
I find this fascinating, I truly do, and I can see how this would lead an atheist or an agnostic away from nihilism. Yet, I can't help but find some problems with the concept of the Ubermensch.
Really?
Yes.
Like what?
Well, it seems that Nietzsche has not spelt out specifically or in great depth what makes an Ubermensch, but we have some vague ideas on self-mastery, being psychologically strong and defining our own morality. However, if we are not currently supermen and do not know of any such being ever existing, then how could we possibly know what an Ubermensch would be? Nietzsche is trying to explain a higher evolved human, but how can a lesser evolved human who has never come into contact with an Ubermensch know what one would be like? So what really is an Ubermensch? Is this a guess? Is it a fantasy? Or perhaps nothing more than Nietzsche's personal opinion on what a superhuman would be?
Yes, I see.
A further criticism would be, if an Ubermensch can in fact define their own morality, how would this work in a world with over 7 billion people? Let's assume we all reach the ultimate goal and the whole of humanity has become Ubermensches. We all share this world, so if each person has their own morality and values, then I think it will inevitably lead to clashes, two different moralities that are inconsistent with each other. How could such a world function, and how could it be resolved if two Ubermensches contradict each other?
Well, I would like to think that if we all reach the stage of being an Ubermensch, then all our morals and values would sync, and we would all be on the same wavelength. There would not be any inconsistencies or contradictions.
Really? You think this? How could 7 billion people each create their own morals, yet each follow the same morals?
Because they are all higher beings, they are all supermen, so we'll all have a better grasp of morality.
But think about what you are saying here. You are referring to morality as an objective thing, something that exists beyond people, and something we can discover and get closer to. This is exactly what Nietzsche rejected. Morality was not objective or universal. This was something that the herd believed. Objective morality died with God, so I find what you are saying hugely contradictory.
Good point.
If God is dead, there cannot be objective meaning. The choices are nihilism or subjective meaning. But with subjective meaning, we cannot expect universal meaning that is the same for everyone.
Yes, I understand.
Also, going back to the idea that God is dead, don't you think that this is a bit of a leap?
What do you mean?
I understand discoveries in science showed parts of the Bible and parts of religion as inaccurate, but to go from that to God is dead seems quite drastic. It can be argued that one can agree that parts of the Bible are inaccurate, but not the whole of the Bible. It could be argued that religions outside of the monotheistic religions could also be true. It could be argued that sacred texts are meant to be read and understood metaphorically rather than literally. But most of all, and what I would argue, religion and God are not synonymous. You do not have to accept religion to accept God. And whilst holes have been poked in the Bible, I do not see how you reach the conclusion that God is dead. The concept of God is greater than any religion. You can disregard religion but still keep hold of a belief in God. So just because science has developed, it does not mean that God is dead.
Good point. Well, that's all the time we have for now. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed the vibe. And what do you think? Do you think God is dead? Are you falling into a nihilist abyss? Or does the concept of the Ubermensch give you some hope? Let us know in the comments below, and if you haven't done so, please like, share and subscribe. Take care, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.